KWTN 100.9 FM. This is the second episode of Big Voice Sports with DJ Garanteed, DJ Bessami, and Coach Q in the house. We have an excellent show prepared for you this evening. Folks, make sure you tune in, share this stream. This is last week we just went over the airwaves. This week we are going to go Facebook Live on the YouTube as well as the Winnebago Facebook page. That Facebook page, if you want to dial in and kind of join into the conversation, it is where, Bessami?
It is on Winnebago, the Big Voice Facebook page. The YouTube is KWTN, the Big Voice.
All right. So 100.9 FM, Ellen, Nebraska, the official radio station of the Winnebago tribe. Coach Q, how you feeling this episode?
I'm feeling pretty good. Once again, we're showing up here, give the people a little bit of information that they probably want to hear.
Yes.
You know, tonight we're going to kind of piggyback a little bit off with some of the topics from last week. Okay. I know we talked about the Nebraska Cornhusker football team.
Yeah, you even got the shirt on, man. You know, the red. So for sure, there's a lot of movement down there.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of things going on down in Lincoln, and we'll touch base on some of that stuff. We had a full week of the first week of basketball season
for sure
in this past week, so we got some games to talk about
and some upcoming games.
Yep, and some upcoming games as well that we're also going to be live streaming here. We're going to touch base on not just our schools, but the Omaha Nation schools have been doing pretty good, so we'll touch base on those.
Okay.
I know that we discussed our youth sports that's going on up in the city during this season of basketball. There's a couple leagues going on up there that we'll give you an update on, and then just some national sports news, and we'll get to it.
All right. So we are also going to have trivia.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good. Last week we had a good trivia talking about overtimes in basketball, and this week we'll have something at the end of the show as well.
Just to recap that trivia for those that didn't listen or didn't show the stream and stuff. What was the trivia again?
So I watched a basketball game. North Carolina played Alabama, I believe, and they went to 4 overtimes, almost 5. And so I was thinking about a good trivia that I knew from the past. And Winnebago actually holds the record in the state of Nebraska for the most overtimes in a game, and that was 7 overtimes back in 1974
against the Eagles.
Yeah, Winnebago played the Allen Eagles back then. And the team from 1974, they played 2 full games in an actual 1 game sit down too. So
we weren't even thought of then. You were 1 year old.
I was 1 year old at that time. Yeah,
very cool.
Hey, so that was 50 years ago. That was 50 years ago that happened.
I wonder if that record.
Same age as the win. Sorry.
Okay, I wonder if that record's gonna still hold. Just because we brought it up on this show.
Yeah,
I bet you this year is the year that it'll be broken.
Yeah, just like when you're watching a game and you say, "Oh, this guy did miss free throws for like 27 attempts," and then his next free throw he misses it. Yeah, exactly. Clank. Yeah. So hey, and I wanted to say something too, Garen. You were talking about the live stream on the Big Voice Facebook page. I mean, it's so easy to make a comment right there. All you gotta do is just click in it where it says "Write a comment"
for sure, and
type in your question or your comment. And it's right here in front of us, so we'll be able to see it, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to chime in with us during this sports show.
All right. So right now we got a couple people on. We got 4,000 members on our Facebook page. Yes. And then up in Sioux City, we broadcast over the airwaves on the radio dial to 190,000 people. So imagine that, people that are tuning in. So once again, for those that don't know what Big Voice Sports, this is 1 hour dedicated to just sports. We have Winnebago Talks. We have ARL. We never really get to talk about sports from a native perspective or from Winnebago perspective. So that's what we're going to do here today, folks. So we'll have special guests. We'll also have maybe Eugene and some of the other coaches, maybe some of the basketball players join us during the episodes as well. So
yeah, that sounds fun.
For sure. Let's get into our first topic, which includes Nebraska football hires.
Nebraska football hires. Okay, so like I said before, I'm not the biggest Husker football fan in the world, but because my family is such big fans that I follow along with them, and sometimes I hear this, sometimes I hear that, and there's some new hires that happened down in Lincoln.
Okay.
We all know, we talked about last week about the brand new Coach
Yep.
Rule.
Coach Rule, right. So for those that are tuning in, do we have any Nebraska Husker football fans out there? Go ahead, comment below. Maybe hashtag Go Big Red.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go ahead and run through these hires. There's about 6 new hires besides the head coach, and your comments will, if you guys know who these coaches are, if you follow any of these coaches, most of these coaches all played under or with Coach Rule at some point in time. Okay, so we're gonna start off on the offensive end. The new running back coach. His name is E.J. Barthel.
Did he play for Jaguars? I know that last name and stuff, but it still kind of slips my head. I didn't do my research, so I apologize.
So I'm looking at the thing right now because I wanted to try to be accurate on this and not just go by guessing. So E.J. Barthel has a background in coaching running backs. He most recently on Jim Mora Jr.'s Connecticut staff in 2022. He helped out one of the nation's most improved teams in his one season at UConn. And the Huskies actually averaged nearly 200 yards rushing per game underneath his guidance. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't the Jaguars. It was actually the Panthers that he helped coach.
Okay. So it was a cat.
Yeah, it was a cat. It was an NFL cat, yeah. So he's going to be at the helm of the running backs. And then
nice. So Nebraska, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Bethany, Nebraska used to dominate with the running backs. I mean, that was the thing. And here's the kind of strategy in football. This is what I see when I watch college and now I watch NFL. Even I watch high school football. Mm-hmm. But you have your running backs, and what they're doing is basically just a wrecking ball. Now, at the start of the first quarter, the defense is pumped up, the offense is pumped up, so they might not gain a lot of yards, but you just keep pounding against that wall. Eventually, that wall is going to break, and then those running backs, they take off for touchdowns and stuff. So when it comes to third quarter, fourth quarter, your defense is really tired, and they just run up the score. Derrick Henry is Tennessee Titans. If you ever watch him, you'll see it he gets stronger throughout the game. You know what I mean?
Okay, gains that momentum.
Definitely. So Nebraska was at one time known for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just kind of lost their identity at that time with under Tom Osborne and crew. They would just run it. They would hit those, like 60-yard touchdown runs from the backfield instead of passing.
Back then, during those days, Nebraska ran a different offense. You remember that? They used to call their offense the Power I and the Wishbone offense back in the day. I think them and Oklahoma both ran it.
Yep.
And you can run option left, option right. You can run option passes, but the quarterbacks were always the main focus because they usually were runners, they were good running backs themselves, and like the names of Eric Crouch and even your boy Scott Frost, they were all runners. No. They were all runners,
No,
Lawrence Phillips, remember him?
Phillips, yeah.
Yeah, he passed on, man. But
really?
I watched the documentary on that, and he just, had a lot of, the upbringing on that. But man, what a talent and everything. I think he had a stint there with the Rams for a while. They cut him, and he just got in trouble, was in prison, and then all of a sudden he ends up passing away in prison. So,
unfortunately, I was able to watch Lawrence Phillips. One game on my very first Husker game I watched, and live down in Lincoln, and they played Oklahoma State, and it ended up being his career high in rushing yards for one game against Oklahoma State. And I think it was like 236 or something like that, or 246 in one game, and it was an awesome game to watch, and
for sure.
I saw the talent right in front of me, so it was cool to watch.
When I was at Wayne State College, I had the opportunity when I was a junior or senior at Wayne State College, and they used to have a place down there called Riley's.
Oh, yeah.
And Thursday night was the night to go, and I was the DJ, so it used to be packed, 400 college students and stuff, and people would come up from Omaha because they heard about this Riley's, and one night, Amon Green shows up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, him and his boys. I think one of his brothers or younger brothers or cousins or something was looking at Wayne State, wanted to do a campus visit, and he shows up, and he was playing for the Packers. So he was done with the Huskers. He was playing for the Packers. He shows up, leather coat and everything. But you see him on TV, You know what I mean? Solid muscle or whatever. But in real life, he's pretty kind of not the tallest running back. You know what I mean? Usually the running backs are kind of low center of gravity. They're not really tall anyway. So he's probably about 5'8" or whatever, but solid, all that. So it was kind of cool.
And most of those guys wear baggy clothes, so you can't really see. They're all ripped up,
Yeah.
Hey, I got a little trivia for you before trivia. Amon Green, you brought up the name. There's one Winnebago man that played football with Amon Green in Australia.
Okay. Who's that?
Travis Mallory.
Oh, yeah.
They went to play with the Sports Down Under over in Australia.
Uh-huh.
And when he gets down there, who's he in the backfield with? Amon Green. So maybe we'll get Travis up here to come talk about that experience out in Australia. That's
for sure.
That would be something pretty fun to listen to.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that another thing too is that I remember Kuna D was fundraising for Travis to go down to Australia.
Oh yeah.
And what an experience, and they got them to go and everything. So definitely. All right, so we are doing a station identification. That was our first segment. Anything else on Nebraska hires?
Well, there's about 5 more guys that I was going to mention after station identification.
Yep. So we just wanted to thank you all for tuning in with the Big Voice. This is KWTN 100.9 FM, Allen, Nebraska. It is the official radio station of the Winnebago tribe, and this is Big Voice Sports, episode 2.
Nice. All things considered on sports and stuff.
Yes.
Shout out to one of our listeners, as well as people that are tuning in on our Facebook page, Solomon White Wing. Huskers, #Huskers, loves the Huskers.
There you go, Kea.
So, for sure, man, for sure.
Right. Well,
all right, keep going.
We'll be moving along, then I'll go a little bit quicker on this one. The new offensive coordinator, his name is Marcus Satterfield, and it looks like Satterfield played 11 years, or has 11 years of experience as offensive coordinator, and he had 2 seasons at Tennessee Tech, and in his most recent stop at South Carolina, Satterfield served as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and helped his team to a pair of bowl games. So that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Cool to have that experience come in. And then Nebraska had some faults this past year on special teams. I saw some fumbles on some punts. I saw a bunch of missed field goals and stuff. And Coach Rule, he brought in a new special teams coordinator. His name's Ed Foley.
Okay.
That Foley name kind of sounds familiar, but I think I'm thinking about wrestling, But it sounds like Foley is an accomplished special teams coach, and he does one of the things that he's known for is his recruiting. So that's going to be something that we can keep an eye on.
All right, as we have probably a phone going off in here. Nonetheless, we are live on KWTN 100.9 FM. Hey, shout out to Kathy LaRush here. Can you, right, we do this commercial break here and stuff, is it possible to tell about the Brule tickets?
Yeah, definitely. Let me pull up that information. But we had posed the question on the Big Voice. We made mention in Winnebago Talks yesterday.
Yeah.
And during our Winnebago Talks episode, we made an announcement that we'll be giving away Brule tickets. So 4 complimentary tickets to the Brule show, which is on December 18th.
Yep, it's a Sunday.
And so what we had asked our Big Voice friends is, what is your favorite childhood holiday memory?
Yeah.
So how to enter, all you have to do is answer the question on the graphic that we posted on our wall.
Right.
So you'll comment your answer below in the comment section, and you'll be entered into a drawing, and we will choose a lucky winner during our Winnebago Talks next week on December 13th.
Our 4,000 friends on Facebook, make sure you enter that. We'll just draw it on there on Winnebago Talks next Tuesday. And thank you to Brule, as well as Paul Cathy, Sioux City Symphony. And they're going to put on an excellent concert. I mean, if you've never been to it, make sure you check that out. So we had go ahead.
I was going to say, we did have a couple guidelines in there. So you just, you must be from the KWTN 100.9 listening area. You must be willing to attend the Brule concert on December 18th. And you must be 18 years or older.
Definitely. Thank you for that. So we were talking about some of these coaches here for Nebraska Huskers. Topic of discussion.
All right. So we're on the defensive side real fast, like the defensive line. Nebraska gave up a lot of yards, right there at the line of scrimmage. So we got a new guy, and his name's Terrence Knighton, it looks like his last name is, and he spent some years. Looks like he spent some years with the Carolina Panthers as well. So Coach Rule was linked with Carolina Panthers and some of their coaching staff, and he's bringing them along for the ride. So it also a secondary coach. The new secondary coach's name is Evan Cooper, and he also coached with Rule during his tenure at those places there. And then we talked about this guy last week, but we didn't have his name, but we saw pictures of him, and he looks scary. His name is Corey Campbell. He looks like a straight weightlifter. I mean, as big as he is, his arms, his legs, his torso. Somebody like that, somebody scary like that, can be a really good strength and conditioning coach just by the way he looks. So he's gonna hopefully change what he does and puts it into the team. So those are 6 new hires besides the new head coach that the Nebraska Cornhuskers acquired this past week.
I'm going to bring it up. Mikey Joseph. You think he's going to be on the staff?
Oh, no.
He's done.
Yeah, I think he's done. I'm pretty sure that the majority of the listeners who follow Nebraska football all heard of Mikey Joseph getting in trouble. So, back in the 90s, the Huskers themselves used to get in a lot of trouble with the law and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden you didn't hear about it no more, and all of a sudden, a day or two after his last day as a coach, and he gets in some trouble with the law and that kind of trouble. I don't think he can get out of it too easy. So they're not gonna hire him back.
All right, so KWTN 100.9 FM, the big voice. Those were the Nebraska Huskers. We have about 8 minutes here and to discuss what our next topic. Our next topic, folks, is Winnebago Public Schools girls and boys varsity basketball. Go for it.
Yes, so they will be taking on the Omaha Nation Chiefs tomorrow, starting at 6.
Yep.
Let me get that. Yep. And then so we'll be live streaming the game from the Winnebago Public Schools Facebook and YouTube for sure.
Yeah.
Trying to configure the Facebook, but we'll be streaming from the YouTube page, which we did make mention of during Winnebago Talks as well, which, I mean, just from a personal preference and opinion, YouTube kind of has that better quality in. I think so anyway.
Yeah, and you can put it on your smart screen.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you have a smart TV, a lot of us starting to get smart TVs, the bad thing about smart TVs is when you first get them up, they download updates, and then you have to download the program, and you have to download all this and that and stuff like that. But eventually, once you get it up and you get YouTube, maybe have grandma or Choka or something like that put the game up so they could stay home, be safe. Weather is expected, so there is a possibility that it might be postponed, moved, or whatnot. But for those that are going to be driving to the game, make sure you stay safe. Use your wise discretion. If they continue on with the game, we'll bring you the stream.
Yep.
And we'll make it seem like you're there. That you're there right at the game, because the live stream has been working wonders I know for my family, my elder relatives, a lot of them do stay home.
Yeah.
And they always are messaging people or calling them later on after the games. Who won? Well, now we can bring it right to their living room. So
there you go.
Big ups to this program here.
For sure. Your phone, smart TV, your laptop, your desktop, iPad, whatever. That's the direction we're going to go and stuff. And it's free. Mm-hmm. Brought to you by the Winnebago Public Schools. So shout out to all our sponsors that helped out with that, as well as the Winnebago Public School for making that possible. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about last week's games.
Okay, so let's see. Last week started the Indians and the Lady Indians season. Last Thursday, they traveled up to Homer, and I think we talked about, kind of gave a little prelim at the last show, but we talked about the games happening. The Winnebago Lady Indians went into their contest really kind of nervous. You kind of saw how nervous they were.
Yeah.
And but over the course of the game, they start getting more comfortable, and then all of a sudden, Winnebago is only down by 3 points, in the fourth quarter.
Nice.
And so you've seen a lot of good things happen during that time. And let me tell you what, I mean, Homer's girls basketball team, they're always pretty solid,
Yeah.
Their coach up there, little trivia again, little area trivia.
Yeah.
Their coach up there, his name is Merlin Tremaine. He was actually my junior high coach, junior high boys basketball coach when I went to school in Walt Hill my 8th grade year. And so Merlin, he still coaches the same way now than he did back then with full court press and pushing the ball up and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He kind of plays res ball a little bit,
Yeah.
But in his own way, and he's brought a few state championships to Homer's Public School for the girls team up there. So, the Winnebago girls looking pretty good against a team like that,
Yeah.
And so that was some impressive things happening that night.
Did they win?
Yeah, they lost by, I believe it was lost by 7-10 on the game because last couple of minutes going free throw line and stuff like that.
Sure.
So but it was a close game, and it was a good one to watch. And then the night after that,
keep going with the girls.
We'll just go with the girls and I'll talk about the boys in a second. And so the night after that, then Walt Hill came into town.
It was a home game. Parents' night.
And parents' night. So Walt Hill comes to town. Walt Hill has a pretty solid basketball team. A lot of young ones on that team, though. Not too many upperclassmen. And Winnebago kept that same energy they had late in the game against Homer and brought it right to the Walt Hill girls and beat them pretty good. I think we won by 20, I believe.
Okay.
And so Winnebago girls got their first win of the season, which is good,
Yeah. And so 1-1.
1-1.
Nice.
But last night, on Tuesday night, the girls traveled down to Pender, and let me tell you what, Pender's varsity girls, they're pretty tough.
Are they?
They're solid. They're really strong. They're quick, and they're all about the same size. There's a couple big girls on there, but Winnebago. The defense from Pender was just too much. It's just a lot of turnovers, and I know the coaches get a little frustrated, because you got to call your timeouts, and you want to call more timeouts, but you don't want to use all your timeouts because you never know. But I'm gonna tell you, the Pender their girls team is pretty tough. Now, the boys team, I'll get to that here in a little bit. I was saying something in the crowd yesterday, hey, boys, run the score up on the girls. Boys, run the score up on Pender because Pender's running a score up on us. The Pender girls kept their starters in almost the entire game.
Okay.
While Winnebago was just trying to filter girls in to keep it going.
Yeah.
And then maybe the last 2 minutes or something, 2.5 minutes, then they cleared their benches and put the reserves in.
Okay.
And that's cool, to get a good win by you win by 40 or 50 or something like that. But I know that one thing is you got to remember how your boys team plays, because if you play against a good boys team, then they might run a score up on your team just because you ran a score up on the girls. So
I have a question here. Does those points, I know that as you're trying to do sportsmanship and all that stuff, but when it comes down to the playoffs, and we consider December, November, those jamborees, it's kind of the preseason.
Yeah.
But overall, when they come out with the brackets, and Pender has made to state, I watched them a couple years back and stuff. I had one of my cousins, cousins played for it. And anyways, do those points, if margin of wins and all that, do they count towards the playoffs?
You know what? I don't think the point margin does, but the wins do.
Okay.
So if
it's a win, it's a win.
And they call them power points.
Okay.
And the perfect person to talk to would be Adam James about that, our athletic director. But if you're a class like Winnebago's Class C1, now if the Omaha South game counted,
yeah,
they're called power points. You played a team that's a class
Right.
a class or two above you, and so you get a certain amount of power points for being a bigger school.
Okay.
Or if you're a subpar team and you play against, or maybe a decent team and you play against a ranked team, like a team that's ranked 1 through 10 or 1 through 25.
Yeah.
And you beat them, you get power points for that.
Yep.
And so if you're a school like Bancroft, I think they're Class D1, I believe.
Yep.
And if you end up playing a team like South Sioux, which is Class B, that could possibly be a win for Bancroft, possibly.
Yeah.
And then
Winnebago's C2, right?
I think Winnebago's C1 now.
C1, okay.
Yeah.
So I know Pender's in there somewhere in Bancroft, Rosalie, Lions, Decatur, but now they went to Bancroft, Rosalie. They're back to the Panthers and stuff. So, yeah, I think that's who I went to watch down at the state games.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay.
And it's those PowerPoints. That's the answer to that one there, Garen, the PowerPoints. And so we'll go ahead and get into the boys. Our station identification.
Yeah,
right.
So you're listening to us on Big Voice Sports Talk Show with DJ Garanteed, DJ Bessami, Coach Q, and this is KWTN 100.9 FM, Ellen, Nebraska. It is the official radio station of the Winnebago Tribe.
All right, then we're going to go right into the boys, topic of the boys high school basketball team. So they had the same schedule as the girls. So last Thursday we went up to Homer, and Winnebago just like the Omaha South game that we covered a couple of weeks ago. Winnebago's guard play is just so fast and so strong and aggressive, but they play with good fundamentals. Nobody gets caught reaching in and stuff like that. And the reason I'm talking about it is because all three of the games that Winnebago played in the last week, the defense was the same. It's just so their defense is suffocating, and a lot of times the team can't get the ball past half court. Now, Winnebago's not running the score up on people because they're actually putting in the freshman and the sophomore kind of early in the game so they can get some experience. But against Homer, Winnebago just ran away with them. I believe that we ended up winning by 25, and it seemed like right around halftime of the game, then Homer's crowd just kind of dissipated and kind of dissolved. And by the end of the game, then there was hardly anybody over in Homer's crowd. And Winnebago fans are always excited to see, how a new team's going to be at the beginning of the year. And our whole half of the gym was packed. So, shout out to all those fans that came out to support the boys that night. And then moving on to the next game on Friday night, I know that the guard play is just, we have probably about 6 or 7 guards on our team that just pick up the defense as soon as they get in the game. And Wall Hill has a pretty decent team. They got a lot of young ones on their team, though. Like I saw from the beginning of the game that Winnebago is going to dominate with the guards because we have 3 seniors that start for our guard play, and I believe Wall Hill's their guards are maybe sophomores and maybe 1 freshman or something like that. So really young, and they had to go up against these boys that we've been playing, all these years and stuff, and they're, almost grown men now. So, that's what it is. In every school you got to graduate out your seniors and you got to play your upperclassmen the next year. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. But Winnebago, yeah, they ran away with that game from the very beginning, and just carried that same kind of those vibes into this week. And they played Pender. And they did the same thing last night with Pender. They just outshot them, outran them, out-hustled them. And a big shout-out to the coaching staff, though, because the older boys got a good, 30, 35-point lead on Pender going in about the halfway point of the third quarter. And then the coaches start putting in the young guys, the freshmen and the sophomores, to get them that experience to play against another school's varsity squad. They were playing their A team, so the boys did pretty good. The younger boys did pretty good. They lost that lead a little bit, but they held on. I think they kind of let up or gave up 10 points on that little stint that they had, but they did a really good job, and I really, like I said, I got to give it up to the coaches for at least experimenting with different rotations and stuff like that. So the boys all get playing time, and they all get the experience, because we all know at the end of the year, you're going to need that experience. If one of your upperclassmen gets into foul trouble, you might have to put one of your freshmen or sophomores in.
Yeah.
And if they don't have this experience, they're going to freeze up, And so if they'd had the experience, then maybe they can be out there and start doing their thing,
Yeah, for sure. Well, here at the Big Voice, if any of those basketball players are listening, coaches, we appreciate it. Fans are doing their part and everything. But players, please keep your grades up. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing, because we get to a certain point and it comes to a big game and an important game, and then we hear, oh, that player's ineligible. Like, come on, you're letting your team down, you're letting yourself down. You know what I mean? Let's keep those grades up. You know what I mean? So for sure, that's a stress for here at the Big Voice. You know what I mean?
I gotta agree with you. I'm one of those coaches. I coach junior high boys on the weekends, not not through the school, but on traveling teams and stuff. And we don't have rules like eligibility rules and stuff. But I'm stuck to this. If your son or grandson is not eligible to play for his school, then he's not eligible to play this weekend. And we had to deal with that this past weekend too with our traveling team. There were 3 kids that we had to sit out, and they had to actually sit there and watch their teammates play. Man. And I know I heard them, but hey, there's a message being sent, and I know that every one of those kids got the message. Yeah. And I doubt if that'll ever happen again, because they missed 6 games this weekend. Wow. 6 games this weekend.
That is crazy. You do all that work. You know, you practice, you get your mind ready, you get your coaching, and then it's time to show out. It's time to ball out. And you're ineligible.
You can't even suit up. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough on the kids, but it's also tough on the coaches too, because, you know, that expectation. Yeah. You know, from the beginning of the season, you know, you get a commitment from these kids and their parents, and, you know, they gotta hold their end of the bargain up. You know. Yeah. You're doing your part as a coach and as a parent and stuff like that by being there, getting the gym open, running them through drills, and, you know, making them do all these things that, you know, to make them better, and then all of a sudden they can't play. Yeah. You know, so it's tough on both of them, but hey, it's a learning lesson. As long as there's lessons learned in there, then I'm fine with that, you know. I'm fine with sitting somebody down.
So, nonetheless, Winnebago Indians boys varsity squad is 3-0.
3-0.
Big one coming to town. Let's talk about Omaha Nation.
Omaha Nation has a pretty big team. I saw the picture of their varsity team, and, I mean of their squad. Nice uniforms, you know, nice uniforms. And they had I think they said there was 32 kids out for basketball. Nice. And that's good. Yeah. That's real good, you know. And I didn't hear too much about their squad, except for they got a couple new players that transferred from Walt Hill. Mm-hmm. And those players are pretty decent. I did hear that they played the Santee Warriors the other night, and they lost. Really? I think Santee won by, I think one of the guys said they won by 18 or 20.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Santee's a smaller school.
It kind of surprised me again, a little bit, but then again it didn't, because this past summer I got to watch Santee's high school boys play. A couple times up in Sioux City at the arena. They brought their kids down for some tournaments. They got some good athletes up there.
Do they really?
Yeah, they got some good athletes. They got a couple dunkers up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. What, are they on the schedule?
Yeah, we actually, I think after Christmas we go up to Santee and play.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be a good one.
Get the accurate date
for that one. Dang, that's pretty cool. So tomorrow, what time does that kick off? If it's going to happen on Thursday here in December, what time does the game start? 6:15?
I got it. So tomorrow there's supposed to be JV as well. Okay. So the JV games are going to start at 4:30. Both the boys and girls. They got 2 gyms, so just kind of choose which one you want to go to. Yeah. And then after that, we're going to start live streaming the girls varsity game, which usually starts about 6:15 or so. But I think we're going to start going live around 6 o'clock. Yep. And then we'll take a pause, let the boys get their warm up in, and we'll start the boys up probably about 8 o'clock or so. Okay. It's going to be a fun one, guys. It always is, you know. Yeah. It always is.
Like I said earlier in the show, if you're just joining us, keep an eye on the weather. And I'm sure that the news will announce if it's going to be postponed due to the weather. But they're expected. We're in a winter weather advisory that's going to start up about noon tomorrow. So make sure if you folks, they're talking about ice first, and then about 2 to 4 inches if that hits us and stuff. So, but you can never. We kind of have a little vendetta against weathermen and weatherwomen, you know what I mean?
It's like, I don't trust them. No,
they can just probably get up and say, everything's gonna be perfect, you know what I mean?
Stick their finger in the air.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
That's what I'm talking about. But anyways, nonetheless, man.
Some specific for tomorrow. So as Q mentioned, it's showing on the schedule that the girls will start at 6, and then the boys, for varsity, the girls will start at 6, the varsity boys at 8. So we will have a stream for the girls, and then we'll have a stream for the boys, and we'll have our commentary taken over, and shout out to our camera operators as well.
Is there a theme to tomorrow night? Just show out?
I didn't see one.
Blue out, white out, anything?
The other night for when they played against Walt Hill, there was a whole bunch of promotions about white out. You know, all the school or the players were all sharing it on Facebook. Go white out, let's go white out. I might have seen 3 white shirts. I wore a white shirt. I wore a white shirt, but when you said they didn't get the memo, I don't see how anybody couldn't get the memo, because the memo is like out there on this Facebook stuff anyway. So, yeah. So hey, fans out there, if they say there's a white out or a blue out or a black out, just make sure that that's the color shirt you wear that night. That's what that means.
Okay.
Simon says.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we might have to get the school to actually give out T-shirts sometime so they could wear them.
They got some nice shirts. You see that recent graphic?
Oh, yeah.
We shared it on the Big Voice,
cool.
but they got their promotional. I believe they do it for fundraising or...
Yeah, the entrepreneur
class.
Yeah.
Nice.
They look really nice, though. Shout out to
right.
Bono's class.
Well, keep up the good work, coaches, fans, and players. Play your heart out and do the best you can. That's our message here from the Big Voice.
Yep.
So here's a question, Q. Are we heading down to Lincoln?
I'll tell you this much. There's a strong possibility. Mm-hmm. And
with I guess, the 3 seniors, right?
Yeah,
we got 3 seniors.
Yeah, and I guess since this is the radio show and I'm doing it, I guess I can have my freedom a little bit about talking about, as long as I keep it cool,
Yeah,
for sure. Here's what I think, all right? And I know that the boys are probably going to be listening to the program because they know that, we're talking about them on this program. So, you boys, the day that you guys put away all the, hey, I'm going to go out and get 20. And when you guys put away all the, hey, watch this move I'm going to do, it's going to look real cool. Or, hey, I'm going to pull up for this 3 even though I see my teammate underneath the basket all by himself.
Yeah.
Once you get away from any of those times where it's a me thing, and you include all the rest of your teammates as being part of you, then until then we're probably not going to go to Lincoln, But I see so much good in this team, the speed, the wingspan, the shooting, the passing, the defense especially, and that there's no reason why we shouldn't go down there. The only people that's going to keep them from going down there is themselves. Understand?
Okay.
They just gotta pull together, and every single game they gotta get better as a team. Backing each other up, talking to each other. Picking each other up when they're down, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Once that happens and they continue that happening, I might as well start getting a rim now. Get my rim now.
Right. Coach Bear, who is the head coach this year, has experience. He was the team that shocked the world. Shock the World team, remember that?
Yes.
And they went over there. They took on the number 1 seed in district finals, and they shocked the world. They punched their ticket to the state tournament. Then they took on Grand Island, who was the number 1 seed down in Lincoln. We were there.
Yes.
And they shocked the world again. They knocked off 2 number 1 seeds back to back, and that was Keisha. What's her name? Julie Paulson's Natasha.
Mm-hmm.
Man. It was cool. It was part of history and stuff.
Yeah.
So Coach Bear has been there before, and he's moving up to coach the boys varsity this year.
Yep.
Experience could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. And then we'll get into the youth sports and stuff like that. But Coach Bear, especially with the boys division over there, that he's got a lot of good players coming up. So. I just can't wait, I mean, I could wait because, from here until then, there's going to be a lot of good games and a lot of good things that we're going to see, so I can wait. But then again, I can't wait because, I have sons that are younger coming up and I want to see them, playing at this level too. But it takes time. They'll get their chance,
For sure. All right. Station identification.
So we are here on the Big Voice Sports Talk Show. This is DJ Bessami. I have DJ Garanteed, Coach Q, and we are on KWTN 100.9 FM, the Big Voice Radio. It is the official radio station of the Winnebago tribe.
Tomorrow, join us for ARL. Tell us about ARL. All requests live with DJ Bessami.
Yes, so that's our Thursday programming. It takes place at 11 a.m. over the KWTN airwaves. So we'll be live streaming, not live streaming.
Yeah, we'll just be over the airwaves.
Embedded in my head, but we'll be over the airwaves, so you can listen in if you're in the Winnebago area over 100.9 FM, or you can go to the Winnebago Tribe's webpage and listen in through our online streaming player. So we get into a little bit of everything. Their genres we have no specific genre, but if you have any songs you want to hear, you can send them to us at 402-922-3347.
And then Friday night we have
the Friday Night Hot Mix with DJ Blue, and we have Midnight Love with MC BKC.
Episode 5's coming your way. And then he kind of gave us, so make sure you join us for that. We'll be in the studio. Episode 5 is duets. So
duets?
Yeah, a lot of like
man.
Babyface and kind of all those duets that he had. You know what I mean? I was like, dang, that's a good theme right there. So I'm looking forward to that one when we come and do that one and stuff. So
I know what is it? DJ BKC?
MC BKC.
MC BKC.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of letters, boy.
For sure.
Yeah, maybe in 9 months, if there's a wave of newborn babies, we're gonna have to maybe kind of research this, and MC might have to pay some child support.
Some ML babies.
Oh yeah.
So if we're on the topic of babies here, we're at the Warhorse update, right? You know, the Warhorse update for the community on Monday.
Yeah.
And
child support music.
Lance says, you know, the community is exploding, you know what I mean? And you guys are out there making babies. This is like, dang, boy. He's like, I don't think you guys are going to slow down and not stop making babies. It's like, okay, anyways, sports. So if there was a sport for making babies, we should talk about that, but there isn't. So continuing on, Midnight Love, Friday night, 10 p.m. to midnight.
Yes.
This Friday. Mm-hmm. Okay, next topic of discussion, the 2022 Indigenous Bowl. Tell us about it, Coach Q.
I'll tell you what I know. So this coming Sunday is going to be a...
Word.
Yeah.
This is coming Sunday?
Yeah, actually, I think that the boys are all... We have 3 boys, I believe, that are heading out to go play in this game.
Look at Indigenous Bowl on Facebook and see which comes up.
Yeah, and then so I believe Duran Blackfish, Tier Walker, and Destin Vargas.
Okay, the seniors.
I believe the seniors. Yeah, they're all going to be going up and participating in this all-star football game. It's like a historic thing, you know. This big all-star game, they're going to get all these natives from around the country come in and play this football game. Everybody had to apply to it. They had to send all their resumes and stuff like that, get the recommendations from coaches and stuff. So, and then those 3 boys made it. And we had some boys make it last year too. And where this game is played is the Viking Stadium up in Minneapolis. So that's a brand new state-of-the-art, you know, facilities up there. And our boys get to go up there and play, you know.
Have you been to that stadium?
No, I haven't. It's
yet. U.S. Bank Stadium and stuff. Did you pull up any pictures from that Indigenous Bowl Facebook page?
Yeah, I have the page pulled up, and the one that I was looking at was the exact names of who's going.
Yeah.
So there's Destin Vargas, Duran Blackfish, and I know I've seen one more. I just want to make mention of this. So I was looking at this yesterday.
Okay.
And the Winnebago Public Schools shared this as well, and they said that there's going to be 4 Winnebago tribal youth traveling up there, but they only named 3. So I was looking through, like, well, where's the 4th one? And there was Cleveland in there.
Oh,
yeah,
Cleveland.
He's in there.
Maybe from Ho Chunk Nation.
Yeah,
Wisconsin?
it said Ho Chunk Nation.
Cool.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I only mentioned that was because they had listed 4, but they only named 3.
Oh yeah.
But it's Destin, Duran, and...
Is it Tier?
Yeah, Tier. But
Tier
for some
Walker.
reason, I can't...
Do you see the pictures from last year's game? If you scroll through and stuff, can you bring that up on
yeah, I can. Yep.
OBS? But yeah, the stadium, U.S. Bank Stadium, is very nice. You know, that's it, guys. You know what I mean? If you guys want to pursue a career in football, whether it be collegiate and then going professional and stuff, we never had that Indigenous Bowl. It's kind of the first. Minnesota is kind of centrally located. You have players coming from California, all the way from like New York in that
East
area,
Coast. Yep.
Oklahoma, Minnesota players, and then we have our Nebraska team. I think some of the players from Omaha Nation. Is there one guy going?
Let's see. I believe there's a few guys going. Todd Stabler.
Yeah.
Todd Stabler.
Dang, just check that
There's
out.
There's a Robinson kid. One of my buddies, Deron Robinson. His kid's going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one was a running back and one was a lineman. Yeah, so shout out to those guys for making it, and I know that their families are really excited.
Yeah.
I mean, you see some of the pictures up there on the Big Voice Facebook page now, kind of going across. You can see the the inside of the stadium and how fun it looks, and just imagine, our kids out there, with all the rest of these other kids and just having a blast playing the sport that they love,
Yeah, it's almost like the Pro Bowl of NFL where they, you bring your own helmet, but you wear the new jerseys and very nice, man. Very nice.
Yeah, I guess they do some kind of, when they first get up there, they do some kind of a jersey presentation or a uniform presentation. And I know they're going up early so they can get some practice time in with the coaching staff and whatnot. And I believe Adam James was selected to be one of the coaches up there too.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Yeah, for one of the teams. So that's a big honor for Adam. I know that he posted some on Facebook about it too. So congratulations, Adam, on getting that, because anytime you're selected for any kind of honor as a coach, it just seems like it's finally you're getting recognized for something,
Yeah.
Because coaching is kind of a thankless job, And,
Yeah.
You get more people complaining than giving you props and stuff like that. So I'm glad that we have Adam where he's at right now.
Right. Here's a question to our viewers. I know that in this day and age, everybody's critical of coaches. So I guess my question is far as, coaches tell it how it is. When should the parent get involved? You know what I mean? Like, that's always kind of a controversial subject.
Yeah.
And how come you ain't playing my son? Well, when you're on the game, I think the coaches said games are 10%, but really the champions are won in the practice.
Yeah.
What you put into it is what you can get out of it.
Yeah, that is a good question, because there's probably a lot of answers to that, different answers, different scenarios. Myself doing the coaching from back in 2000, I think I started, and first you try to get the rapport from the kids and the parents and the community and stuff like that. You can't do it overnight.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I just try to keep on explaining to the kids and parents year after year is like, as your kids getting older, they need to pick up like all the skills of the sport, because when they get into high school, they need to know what they're doing, because, just historically, you look back at the sports and, I always say in a boxing match, you're not going to go put a beginner fighter out there with somebody that's, 30-0 with 30 knockouts and this guy never fought before. You're not going to do that,
Yeah.
You're not going to put somebody in a game that's not, or in a fight or a game that's not ready for it,
Yeah.
So in order to get on that court, in order to get that playing time, you need to put that work in practice, so you get the proper skills so you can be in the game at that time of the game where you want to be in the game. And a lot of times it's that fourth quarter. You want to be in that game in the fourth quarter, or the last set, or whatever sport you're playing, the last inning.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need to put that work in during practice and outside of practice, because once game time starts and these records count, and the coaches are trying to get good records so for the end of the year, and if you're not ready, then you're more than likely going to be sitting on the bench watching the guys who are ready.
Yeah.
And that's not knocking on anybody at all. It's the truth. No matter what player or student athlete it is, you have to put that work in. You can't just expect that, hey, that guy's my Dega, that guy's my uncle, he's gonna let me play. No, you got to put that work in first. So
Yeah.
So if there's questions out there, every coach is gonna have their own answer for that. But that would be mine. You got to get ready to play for the big leagues.
For
and
sure.
And that's how you do it. Is go to practice hard.
So good luck to our players that will be heading up there, represent Winnebago, your family and yourself. Very good at this weekend's 2022 Indigenous Bowl that's going to be taking place in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the U.S. Bank Stadium, which was the home of the Minnesota Vikings, who are doing pretty good in NFL. So we'll do a station identification.
Yep, so you are listening in to Big Voice Sports Talk Show with DJ Bessami, DJ Garanteed, and Coach Q. We are on KWTN 100.9 FM, the official radio station of the Winnebago Tribe.
The Big Voice Sports, episode 2. Make sure you join us for episode 3, which is going to be on Wednesday night. The reason we select Wednesday, there's basketball games, high school basketball games on Tuesday. There's NFL on Thursday, and there's also sometimes some basketball games that will happen on Thursday as well. They don't really play on Wednesday unless it's like a makeup game or a playoff game and stuff like that. But a lot of teams and a lot of players are in practice right now, and in fact, you're going to have to go to practice right after this. So Wednesday is the evening to have this sports show.
Yes, and I wanted to make mention, we would have our other coach, Huge, here as well. He did get back to me. He said that he has leagues tonight.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Whirling Thunder actually started their open men's league tonight down there at the gym. So, yeah, I think Huge will probably be busy like this first week until he kind of gets everything, get the ball rolling and kind of get it going smooth. And then he'll stop up and spend the hour with us and talk about sports and then head back down to the gym. We just got to get everything going this first week,
Yep.
For sure. All right, so we are in our last segment here. We have trivia coming up. We have local sports updates real quick, and then we also are going to talk about this weekend is a huge weekend in the boxing world as Terrence Bud Crawford is going to enter the ring down in Omaha, Nebraska at the, what did they call that place?
It's a CHI Center?
Yeah, the CHI Center. I think that's a hospital or something, but they own the naming rights of that stadium. Anyways, that's going to take place on Saturday. So, what do we want to talk about? Coach Q.
You want to go into the boxing? Or you want to do that at the end?
Yeah, we can go into the boxing.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know too many people that are going to be going down to the Bud Crawford fight, but on that first Monday that the tickets went on sale, I went and got my tickets.
Did you really?
Yeah,
cool.
I'm taking me and 3 of my sons now. We're going to go down there. We got decent tickets right by where the tunnel where the boxers all come out.
Oh, so we might see them on TV.
Yeah, we're going to try to get on TV a little bit, but
okay.
I think the main thing is we want to get down there to watch the undisputed pound for pound champ, win again, So we got a chance to meet Bud Crawford at his about 4 years ago. He opened up his own apparel shop down in North O, and they had a big grand opening and stuff. And me and the family went down and check it out. We got some free what do they call it, some free gear, and got to get a couple pictures with the champ and autographed shirts and hats and stuff like that. So
cool.
And it was before their fight, and we went down to go check out the fight. You were down there, right?
No, I never seen a Bud Crawford fight. Okay, unfortunately.
So we went down the last time he fought down in Omaha, went down and watched it, and it was a last round KO, and it was the energy was so hype. I've never been. I mean, I've been to boxing matches before, but no heavyweight, defense bout like that, and it was awesome because that place, the CHI Center, is a huge venue, and it was packed all the way to the top.
And it exploded when he knocked him out.
Yeah, and so we'll be heading down this coming Saturday, and so next week's show, we'll have to have another segment about the boxing and what the experience was like down there, and maybe I'll get some pictures and I'll send them to Bethany, so when we're doing our show, she can pull a couple of the pictures up off there, so get to see the experience kind of live, maybe a couple little clips or something like that. But yeah, we're excited. I've always been a boxing fan. Ever since I was just a little guy, my dad used to love Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
And then we got older, and then who was the next big dog? Remember Mike Tyson came out?
Mike Tyson blew up the world and stuff like that. But type in Bud Crawford on the Facebook. See if you can bring up his Facebook page. There is some pay-per-view details and stuff. I heard it's not nationally kind of televised on ESPN or HBO or Showtime. HBO doesn't even do boxing anymore, but I think it's like BLK Prime or something like that. It's going to offer the
it's his brand new. Yep, that one right there. It's his brand new promoter that's doing it all. All the information's on there. I know he dropped Top Rank Boxing. Yeah, he dropped them. I guess there was some serious issues with his money that he was concerned about. So he's like, hey, you guys aren't going to jip me no more money. So
for sure. So for those that don't know who Terrence Bud Crawford is, he's undefeated. They call him the pound for pound best boxer in the world. And right now they're trying to match him up with another guy. His name's Errol Spence. In negotiations, I called it. I definitely called it. I told all my friends and I told everybody. I even posted on social media. I was like, that fight's never going to happen. It's not going to happen for 3 years. Minimum. Yeah. You remember Mayweather and Pacquiao when they were supposed to go head-to-head and everybody was excited, and then they did some kind of lame excuse for his peds and, drawing blood and all this and that and stuff. So that happened later when they were off their prime.
Way past their prime.
And it was a boring fight.
It was a boring fight. It wasn't, yeah. And then they still made people pay pay-per-view for that.
Yeah. So here's my question to you, Coach Q and Bessami. Terrence is going out on a limb by doing this here. And I I seen an article where he says, I don't care what the pay-per-view numbers are, but that's saying to Errol Spence, like, hey, that's giving the advantage to Errol Spence. If you notice, in this promotional game, making these, they call them matching the fighters up, you know what I mean? That promotional game, this is a chess match, and Errol Spence is going to come back. It only did 60,000 pay-per-view buys or something like that, you know what I mean? So I should get the lion's share of the money. The fight's never going to happen. I'll tell you right now. That's my opinion.
My opinion right here is I believe that Bud Crawford and Errol Spence both want this fight to happen.
Yeah.
I know that they want this fight
according
to happen.
To Twitter and all the interviews and everything.
But it's a business. It's a business. And if the manager for Crawford or the managers for Spence, if they're not happy with the numbers, then they're not going to let it happen. Because the fighters aren't the only ones going to get money.
Right.
And so if it's going to be a huge purse for this payout here, those managers want their money too,
Mm-hmm.
And so they're both going to try to get the upper hand on who's going to get more or what, because they're both undefeated. They're both champions. They're both a big name in this fight. So, I mean, why not just split it down the middle, right?
For sure. That would be logical.
Yeah.
But someone wants to be, you know what I mean? If anything, here's the thing. Like, depending on how he does on his pay-per-view numbers, Crawford, Spence should be like, okay, whoever wins this round, let's do an immediate rematch so you can get it back, and let's even do bigger numbers. But whoever wins that first round will get the lion's share the next time. And then if it goes into a trilogy, because that seems to happen with the heavyweights, Tyson Fury, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder. They went 3 rounds. Then you have Canelo, and he went 3, 4, or 5 rounds with Triple G.
Yeah.
And the last time was just a blowout. Triple G's done. That was a bad fight there and stuff, But nonetheless, I don't even know who Bud Crawford's fighting. I think it's just a tune-up fight. I have to say, though, these people that are foreign from overseas, sounds like he's from overseas somewhere. Is he Russian or is he Kazakhstan? Or
his last name is Evanison.
And he's not Hispanic. Or he's not one of the, what they call Mexican fighters and stuff. It seems like he's from...
So he's a Russian boxer.
A Russian boxer. They're dangerous.
Oh.
They are dangerous.
Ivan Drago.
For sure, man.
Ivan Drago.
So he's playing with fire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's worth the pay-per-view fight just to see if Terrence Crawford has any rust, if he's going to knock the guy out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're all rooting for him. After this, Errol Spence is probably going to get in the ring as a brush-up fight. 2 years from now, they might jump in the ring together. But
yeah, man. I'm hoping it. Yeah, because I think isn't Terrence like 33 or something like that? He's. I mean, we watched him when he was younger, just beating up his opponents. Right. Now he's getting to an older gentleman now, and let's get that fight right now before he hits that that 35, that 36, 37 mark.
Yeah. Here's the unique thing about Terrence Crawford. He fights both ways. They call it southpaw, and that's a left-handed hitter, and then they call it traditional stance, you know what I mean, where it's right-handed. Mm-hmm. So he might come out right-handed, and then eventually throughout the fight, and it wrinkles you up because you don't know what to prepare for. That is very interesting, and that makes him very unique, and that makes him kind of like how do you say, like a boxing star, because he has that ability. What do they call it when your brain is like that? You can write your name left-handed.
Is it ambidextrous?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is dangerous, And then even in basketball, if you have a left-handed Brandon Stout, you know what I mean? Like if you have a left-handed baller, it throws a wrinkle into that offensive scheme as well as that defensive scheme and everything. So boxing, you don't play boxing. You play basketball, you play football and everything. Boxing is going to be very interesting. So when we come this weekend, it's going to be very cool.
I kind of think that next week when I talk about the fight that's coming up, I'm going to be talking about how Terrence Crawford reminds me of a kitty cat with a mouse, just playing with his food. You know what I mean? Just playing with his food until like the maybe the 9th or 10th round, and then it's time for dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or it could be, you never know. That's why you go to a boxing match and stuff. Mike Tyson got knocked out, and he wasn't expected to get knocked out. The biggest upset in the world could happen. could happen. So that's why we are going to go check it out. Definitely. And we are coming to the end of the show here. So do we have trivia?
I got one trivia question. I'm going to look up here at the monitor. We could kind of visit about it and let somebody answer the question, but I'll ask you guys this question here. All right. For one single basketball game, the Winnebago scoring record for one single game is 51 points in one game by one person.
Dang. So this one person had 51 points?
One person.
Holy crap.
And I'll give you one hint. It's not David Wingett. Okay. So do you guys got an answer?
Do we get A, B, C, D? You know what I mean? Do we get a choice of 5?
I could probably do that.
Okay.
Let's see here. I'll just bring up some random names too, and one of them will be it. Okay. Jules the Rose, Matthew Wingett, Pete Bass, or Vincent Bass Sr. You want to say
A, B, C, or D?
Jules the Rose, Pete Bass, Vince Bass, and who's the other one I said?
We'll have to go back. You said another Wingett. You said Matthew Wingett.
Yeah, you said
Matthew Wingett.
Yeah. Ladies first.
I'm going to go with Senior, Vince.
Vince Bass Sr.?
I'll go with Jules.
Jules? Okay. Vince is actually a good candidate for that one, but it wasn't. It was Jules.
Dang,
now,
51 points?
Now to back that up, it was me and Jules' senior year, and on one Saturday night we played, and I believe it was Cedar Bluffs. He scores 50 points.
Wow.
I had like 17 assists. He had 50 points. We went overtime, won that game. Now 2 nights later we played on a Monday. It was kind of odd playing on a Monday, but we played on a Monday, and we played, I believe it was Why Not? He scores 51 points that next night.
Oh,
so 50 points, 1 day off, 51 points.
Against Why Not?
Against Cedar Bluffs, then Why Not?
Wow, that's crazy.
So that was just in 3 nights he did that, or basically 2 nights, but 3 nights with a day off in between. So that was the highest point scored. And then David Wingett, his last home game at Winnebago as a senior, he scores 50 points.
Dang, didn't break the record, but still, it's 50 points.
Yep.
He's up there.
So the record was 51 points.
Yeah.
By 1 point.
I know. Wow. Very cool. That's Big Voice Sports Trivia and station identification.
Yep. So this is KWTN 100.9 FM, the Big Voice Radio. It is the official radio station of the Winnebago Tribe.
Episode 3 coming your way next Wednesday. Make sure you tune in for that. Any shout outs, Coach Q, before we go off the air?
Well, like each and every time, I like to give a shout out to all the youth coaches out there putting in work. You guys that aren't getting paid to do what you're doing, just doing it for the love of your children or the love of the kids here in our community. You guys are changing lives, and you guys are making their lives better for these young men and these young ladies. So you guys keep up the work. And I've been in the game for 23 years, and I got some experience. So if you guys ever run into some hardships or any kind of questions where you need maybe a different opinion, my door's open.
For sure. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a good evening Tuesday night. We'll see you next. Excuse me. I said Tuesday. That's usually when Winnebago Talks happens. But Wednesday night, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. right here on KWTN 100.9 FM, The Big Voice. This is The Big Voice Sports Episode 2 in the books. And we'll see you. Make sure you join us for Episode 3. Have a good night, folks.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.